clerk please call the roll?
Vice President McFadden?
Here.
Councilmember Clifford?
Here.
Councilmember Evans?
Present.
Councilmember Patterson? President Scott?
Let the record reflect that we're also joined by everybody else on the council who is not on the committee. Introductory item number 31, approving the commitment of reserve funds. Are there any questions, comments, concerns about this introductory item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 32, authorizing the bulk sale of delinquent tax liens. Councilmember Patterson.
Yes, hello. I made a request to receive a listing of the folks broken out by the 4 asset classes, and though I have received the entire list, it doesn't seem to be broken out by asset class. Is it possible that I can get that information?
Yes.
Thank you.
When you're saying asset class, you mean the high, medium, and
Exactly.
low valued liens?
Exactly.
So we would do a data sort on that to provide that to you.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And I would just ask if we could possibly hold it till I get it, just so we can look at it.
We will hold introductory item number 32 until we get that list. Is there any other comments or concerns about introductory item number 32? So we will hold that. Introductory item number 33, authorizing agreement for citizen survey services. Are there any comments or questions about this item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 34, authorizing agreement with Garnett Capital Advisors, LLC for sales advisory services. I'm going to hold this in committee. There are a number of questions from some of my colleagues. I understand we do have a representative here from Garnett Capital Advisors. If anyone has any questions, this probably would be a good time to ask directly.
I have a question. In the transmittal point 3, it says it's going to provide the opportunity for individuals with a ticket to pay a lesser amount than the face value of the ticket and cure their delinquency. I'm just wondering if I can get a little bit of details as to how that's going to be articulated and how we can feel confident about that service.
My first time. The way these collection companies or these buyers work is to offer a discounted payoff. They treat the borrower or the debtor as a client, and they offer them a discount. And this is a small balance, so it might be a payment plan. There's no definitive, usually set amount to begin with. The fines are $25 to $50, right? So it's not, it would be some subset of that.
So you purchase the debt, you go out and you ask someone, you request that someone pays their bill. What's the next step from there?
Okay, so we're a broker. We don't actually. So the benefit to the city is we come in, we make sure all the information is clean, we make sure all the balances are right. We know, we make sure everything complies with CFPB and all the sort of regulations out there. Then we hold an auction, and we hold an auction with the folks that we have vetted for FDIC, for government, for bank sales, and then we, together with the city, will pick a winner. And if you want, we could have them put their collection, not methodology, but their philosophy in with the bid to consider. And, so as I looked at the data, there were several people that had many fines. That would be a bigger discount, and a smaller discount for the people that just had $25 or $50. It's more of a convenience.
Councilmember Patterson.
Okay, so you're a broker, so what you're going to do is, we've got 7 million in debt, you're going to offer it out there to the market, to the folks you work with.
Right.
They're going to bid on it, and what is your thought on what we might expect to receive for the sale of this debt?
That's a terrific question. I haven't really done the analysis. I was here about a year ago, and I looked at some numbers, and it was running about I think what's 16 ran about $1 million gross, and it's a couple $100,000 gross this year. So it's usually what you can expect to receive 2 years forward, net of any agency fees. In this case, we'd have to look, so it's usually 2 or 3 years gross cash flow.
All right,
Go
I don't understand the answer, so I'm going to see if I can ask the question in a way that makes sense to me, and hopefully we'll get there. All right, so the debt is $7 million.
Right,
You're going to sell it.
correct.
You're going to sell it, and what percentage of that $7 million do you expect to collect?
So we would
So let me.
we would sell it for some small portion of that. It's in the few $100,000, I would think, because I think it ran in 2017, 300,000 gross. So, so does that answer your question?
So not even 30%.
I don't know. We would run an auction, and we
Right.
would show you all the bids.
Right.
I just can't tell you because I haven't done that analysis.
Right, but the folks who purchased the debt have the right to collect at the full face value, though they would expect a discount.
Correct. They would price it to generally make about 150 to 180 to 210% of their purchase price over 2 years. So it's not, they're not purchasing for 10 cents and collecting 80. If they purchase it for 30, they would expect to collect about 50.
Okay.
That's so it would be 30 for purchase price, maybe 10 or 15 for costs, and about 5 or 10 for.
After they purchase the debt, would they have the right to then resell whatever they didn't work and collect on?
Generally now, you do not have that right. I would advise you to not have that right, to put that in the contract. What's happening now, banks and institutions are selling it to a debt buyer that has a lot of capital, and they're the final resting place. They spend millions on compliance. So they are very good at following that through the life cycle of the debt. So no resale would be allowed.
Thank you.
Councilmember Evans.
Can you just comment a little bit on the credit piece? This debt won't affect anyone's personal credit, their FICO score.
You can, that's the way you decide to sell it. Generally speaking, I don't know how the FICO score works. I know medical debt no longer is part of it. I think city is not, but you can put in your purchase and sale agreement that you do not want it reported to the bureaus. I don't think this is.
So we could specify that we
Absolutely.
don't want.
Right, you'd be able to specify that when it goes out. It could be priced either way as well.
Right.
And we can restrict it to not have the credit report.
Thank you.
Council President.
My question may have been answered earlier, but I'm going to ask it just in case. You mentioned the philosophy of the company that's buying the debt in terms of their collection philosophy.
Right.
I think I saw something in our transmittal that said we could specify some provisions in that regard. How far does that go? I mean, if we said you can't harass anybody.
Well, none of these clients will be harassed because these are very large institutions that will be buying it, although this was a smaller deal, so but these are institutions that have capital, unlike a collection agency. So they have, no interest in having any compliance issues.
But they're not the ones who actually collect, right? They give that to somebody else.
No, in general, the person that buys it will be collecting it in-house. That's most of the buyers.
Okay.
That's the way there's now the receivables, there's organizations and trade groups that sort of control.
Okay, thank you. So, Mayor, my thing is, and you don't get anything you don't ask for. So the people who owe these tickets, they're not going to just pay because they're there. We need to ask them. On the other hand, I don't want us to be in the position of hounding people for what may be $5 to us out of a $50 ticket. So I just want to have some assurance that we will not be among those who are just really making life miserable for pennies.
So that is not the intent here, to harass people. Currently, these collections are already at a debt collector, and it's currently being rolled over on our books. That what we're asking is nothing different from the tax lien sale. When we announced that we would not do red light cameras, we announced that we were not forgiving the debt. If council prefers that we forgive the debt, the $7 million, then we would need to go to corporation counsel. But it's like somebody has a fine and we're taking it away from them. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at this point in time. But our goal is really to get out of the business once and for all. So it's not part of the city of Rochester. This is a company that has been researched well by our finance department. They are a broker. They deal with companies that are, experts in this. There are other cities that are looking to do the same thing, some in New York that have gotten out of the red light camera business as well. And so it's reducing the amount that we currently owe, that we are currently owed, like we do with our tax lien sales. It would be the same sort of process where they would most likely send a letter, maybe a follow-up call, but the goal is to help people get rid of the debt and get it off and get them out of a situation where they owe this bill out there and can be called for years upon years and upon years and offer them a settlement depending on the amount that they owe.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Ortiz.
So just a quick follow-up. So you are from Capital Advisors, right?
Correct, Garnet Capital.
Garnet Capital Advisors, okay. So I guess my question as you were speaking is, you were in answering the Councilmember Evans' questions and things like, you said most companies or we can or this. I guess the question is, will you or won't you, for the one question in terms of, our process in terms of the credit score and what have you, we have the option, and you're saying that, so I guess instead of guessing or are we or will we or will we not put those stipulations in there? Is that already part of the plan? Is there some other opportunity we need to make that decision?
I don't have a plan. I will follow. It's not my debt, it's your debt, right? So I follow the direction. My job is to advise you what your choices might mean as to purchase price, right? But I absolutely will follow your direction.
At what point in time, Charlie, do we need to make that, when do we make that decision?
So what I
In
thought,
terms of the putting it on affecting a score, or the number of times, as the President Scott's question, the number of times we will attempt to do certain things, at what point do we put in the details of that for Capital
Well, in
Advisors?
evaluating this, the thought was that you could include it or not and have it priced each way and see where the best cost benefit is. There is also to the point that if you do have something placed on your credit score and cure it right away, that actually could improve your credit score. So from an analytical perspective, you could price it both ways, see what we get, and make the decision at that point when we get the bids in.
Okay, I guess I'm still.
So I think I'm going to answer your question a little bit different.
Okay.
because we don't necessarily have a contract with Garnet Capital, they cannot do the analysis that would need to be done to actually price this out and to do everything. What council would be authorizing us to do is to actually contract with them to see what we would be able to receive as payment, to outline what our criteria would be, to analyze the data that we currently have. So right now, it's not we're going out to bid tomorrow or we're going out to auction tomorrow. What we're asking council the permission to do is to contract with the broker to then analyze the debt that we have, to see how we would like to proceed in that. And you can outline that you don't want it on a credit report, you don't want people being harassed, there's certain stipulations. And then based on all of that, then they would come back, Lou would come back with with the data sheet for us. This is how much I can basically see you getting for this. And then we can decide, do we want to proceed? So it's not that we're asking for the debt to be sold tomorrow. We're asking for permission to actually contract with the broker to see what would we get for a dollar amount for the $7.2 million that we owe. What would be some stipulations that we would require, and based on all of that information, do we want to go ahead and proceed and sell this, or do we want to forgive the debt? But we need to make a decision to get the debt off of our books.
Okay, that's much more helpful in terms of the process that we need to go through. So then we would expect to get something back so that we could see kind of the direction that you might be going and possibly weigh in on some of those particular features of a official contract.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if council were to approve us going forward with this contract, then that would be the next step in sort of in getting all the data from collections and all of that, parking, aggregating that data, giving that to Granite Capital, and them then going through it and saying to us, this is what you can expect if we were to put this up for auction.
Okay.
And then we can decide rather the possible, just a number out of the sky, $600,000 is worth it, or if you want to move in a different direction. This isn't the authority to actually go ahead and sell the debt. Okay. It's the authority to move forward in analyzing if this is something that we really want to do.
Great,
and
thank
we
you.
can't do that without a
the
broker
analysis.
that knows about this.
Councilmember Lightfoot.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember McFadden, my question is, and I can't remember if it's been asked, and I don't see it in our transmittal, but how many actual residents or tickets, we have a number, we have a nominal number, but we don't know how many people does this actually affect? And that may not be a question for you, sir, but how many tickets are these?
It's approximately 100,000 tickets.
100,000 people.
Tickets.
It's the 100,000
Some people have a lot of
tickets.
tickets.
Some people
One
have
person could
multiple
tickets. So
Some people have multiple
So
tickets.
it's 100,000 tickets. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Patterson.
Okay, Mayor, thank you for the explanation you provided. It was wonderful. What I need now is an explanation of the fee that Garnet Capital will be charging for this analysis. So what exactly is the fee that we would be approving at this time? And that's for whoever can answer it.
So I can answer that.
Okay.
I only get paid if you go to market and close the sale and get cash.
Okay.
So it's really what I'm writing you is to set expectations, that report. Do you want to do this? If you say no, no fee. But,
I like your price.
we do plenty of business. We're not here. We're not in the hourly business. We're in the transaction.
Thank you.
Well, I will ask this. I think a number of the questions have been answered. Instead of holding this, why don't we go ahead and vote on it in committee? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Spall.
Mother, that was so helpful because I think it really lays out the steps. That's great. Charlie, I always ask the same thing. Why can't we do this ourselves? I think your answer was reasonable. At some point, our rate of return is dropping. if our rate of return is closer to what these good folks give us, and we have a chance to make that decision, I love that, down the road, we might actually determine that we're going to just do it ourselves, or, I mean, at one point, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but...
Lou.
Excuse me?
Lou DePalma.
Lou, so may I call you Lou?
Absolutely.
So at one point, Lou said it'll be a couple $100,000 on 7 million. We're probably doing about that ourselves?
In the early point, right after we discontinued assessing the tickets, we collected most of the money. It's now dropped precipitously, approaching zero.
Sure,
in terms of what we're collecting month over month.
Okay.
So
it's
therefore,
possible Lou can do better, but it's possible that he's going to come back with a number, and we can still control the way we treat our residents, the way we pursue it, the kind of language we use, and it would be about the same return. We might decide just to keep it ourselves. We could do that, right?
Yes, we have the right to reject at the point, and once we get auction results and our bids are in, we get the option to pursue or reject.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right, you could do that after entering the market. The buyers know that. And then I do not get a fee.
Thank you.
But we set expectations together.
Sure.
So that our success rate is very high.
Councilmember Patterson.
And if we were to authorize it today and Lou were to come back with a proposal and we were to accept the proposal, that would also come back to council for approval. Is that correct?
To actually do the sale?
To actually do the sale. The sale
and
would come back.
And put it up for bid, it could come back for council.
Okay.
Yes.
So it would come back to council?
Yes.
Okay.
We can bring it back to council.
Councilmember Scott, Council President Scott.
I didn't have a question.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. I'm sorry. Councilmember Evans.
No, I was just going to say, just a comment. I think that the bigger piece of this is that I think what the city wants to do is get this debt off our books. So it can't, I don't think that this process could hurt, because, I mean, we may say, we may forgive tickets, but we can't do that unless we go through a process to show that we're trying to do everything we can to collect those tickets. And for the record, I paid my 2 red light tickets. So I don't think that it hurts to ask, and I think it was, I thank you for being here answering our question.
Are there any other comments, questions, concerns, statements, philosophies? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 35, authorizing a mandatory agreement with Guardian Life Insurance Company of America for dental plan administration services. Comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries. Introductory item number 57, resolution, why can't I say this word today? Resolution approving an appointment to the Board of Directors for Action for a Better Community, Inc. Comments or questions, concerns?
We may have to go into executive session on this.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
At this time, I'd like to call the Neighborhood and Business Development Committee to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Lightfoot.
Here.
Councilmember Ortiz. Here. Vice President McFadden. Here. President Scott.
Here.
All right, introductory number 36, authorizing the sale of real estate. Any issues, concerns, or comments? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
So move.
We have it moved and seconded. I now call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion moves. Motion passes. All right, introductory number 37, authorizing the agreement for the Asset Control Area Home Rochester program. Questions, concerns, comments? No questions, concerns, comments.
I just want to say one quick thing.
Please do.
So our former council member was very helpful today. I don't know if there's anything you want to share, Dana, related to the death penalty, but
What?
in the death clause, sorry.
Oh. It's changed so much.
We will not be authorizing the death penalty, no, we will not.
We're not talking death penalty, we're talking death plus, sorry, guys. I was distracting myself. Dana, again, I appreciate your call and the reference to the death clause in some of our contracts that we removed, and I guess it's depending on who our funder is and the relationship is, but I think you were able to clarify for me what I asked, so I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Spall. I did explain that. We, I think, misinterpreted your question originally, and so we didn't exactly answer the question that you were asking, and so I called for clarification. So after understanding your question, we do have removed the language that relates to that from roofing grants and our lead abatement grants, so that is removed.
Great.
For other programs, like this particular program where it is funded by CDBG funds, we can't necessarily remove that, but in the event that someone had one of these properties and did die, there are 4 things that can happen. The estate can pay back the remaining amount. The property can be sold and the proceeds can be used to pay back any remaining amount. It can be sold to another person who qualifies, and then the amount does not have to be repaid, it just continues.
Great.
Or the 4th case is if a family member wanted to actually take over the property and they are qualified, then they can do that.
Great.
So there are 4 options that do exist.
Great. Thanks so much.
And just a quick general question about the map, the color map that was provided. It looks as though the pink, orangish areas are the areas that are in the asset control program?
That is correct, Councilmember Patterson. The orangish areas are the ones that are included in the asset control program.
I'm happy that these areas are here, but I'm also extremely concerned because as I look at the map, it seems that some of our most challenged neighborhoods are not in this program. So I understand the answer that I was given, HUD won't let us put the other areas into it, but is it possible to have further conversation with HUD around the fact that, some of our more challenged census blocks aren't included, and those are the areas that need a great deal of work. And if HUD is taking properties in, we certainly do need to be taking control of that to help guide the redevelopment of those areas. And I'm going to just kind of nudge Councilman McFadden here. So Councilman McFadden, for years, has had a concern about houses that HUD is taking control of that they are just selling to whoever comes, but certainly not first-time home buyers. And I was just wondering if he had any comment on that.
We can, Council Patterson, we can follow up with our regional director, William O'Donnell, on Monday. We did go to HUD a couple weeks ago just to put a face with the name and talk about policy changes. As of yet, there hasn't been much change in Washington in regards to new programs or policy. All they've really talked about is ending cutting. But we will follow up and talk about that need that we want here in the city.
Okay, thank you.
I sent you.
Councilman McFadden.
This has been a pet peeve of mine. There is policy already in place. What they have to do is just have a willingness to enforce the policy, because first-time home buyers are supposed to have first right to the property before investors, and they seem to not recognize their own policy. I would just remind them of their policy, because it does exist today. And I know of 3 properties in my district where there were 3 first-time buyers that basically were denied a property that went to an investor who wanted to do boarding houses for college students. So I would just, again, remind them that they're the ones okaying this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry, call for a motion. Second. Okay. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Introductory number 38. Authorizing payment in lieu of taxes and loan agreements for the Eastman Reserve projects. It appears as though we have we need to amend this. So we need to have a motion to amend. This amendment corrects the title of the legislation. Do I have a motion to correct the title of the legislation?
I motion that you correct the title of this legislation.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. All right, so that's approved. Now we move to the motion. Nope, sorry.
Call the vote.
Say it again?
Call the vote.
Vote on the amendment. All right. Any debate, comments, concerns, questions about this particular item? Seeing none. Now we vote on, now we motion to approve the amendment. Yep. All right. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nope. Okay, motion passes. Introductory number 39. Nope.
Back to
Now we got to vote on the amended motion. Oh, feeling like Carol Lee, man. All right. Thought we already did that. Okay, we didn't? All right. So now, moving to motion. Now we're going to vote on the amended motion. Do I have a second? Do we have a second?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're done?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good Lord, number 39. All right. Item introductory number 39, authorizing funding and amendments to service agreements for the Emergency Solutions Grant Program for the homeless. Do we have any issues, concerns, questions? No issues, no concerns, no questions? Need a motion? Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion moves forward. Introductory number 40, authorizing funding and agreement for the owner-occupant rehabilitation program. Questions, concerns, comments? No questions, no concerns, no comments. All right, need a motion.
Move to adopt.
Need a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion moves forward. Going on with introductory number 41, authorizing intermunicipal agreement with the County of Monroe to fund enforcement of the lead-based paint poisoning prevention ordinance. Had a couple of questions. Everybody happy? Do we have any questions, concerns, comments? No questions, no concerns, no comments. All right, need a motion. Need a second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion moves forward. Introductory number 42, authorizing the acquisition of 855 West Main Street. Comments, questions, concerns? Do we have any? Seeing none, we move forward. Any motions? Do we have a motion?
Second.
Do we have a second?
Or did you get a motion?
You had to move in a second? I missed the second. All right. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Moves forward. Introductory number 42. No, we already did 42. Introductory number 56. Authorizing the mandatory agreement with the Strategic Community Intervention LLC for nuisance abatement program training. Questions, concerns, comments? Please go forward.
Move to adopt.
Hang on, wait, we got a comment.
Sorry. So thank you for, we got this ahead of time, and I know I got the clarification already. I guess just for the record, I just wanted to make sure that it was out there for maybe the rest of the colleagues, and that the way it was worded was a little bit off in terms of what we're actually saying in this one. And when it said in there that we would be doing the training for the new proposal and what have you, what the clarification was that we would actually be discussing what that should be as opposed to actually doing it. And the way that it reads as if it's already been decided and that we're moving forward in training. So I got that clarification. I just wanted to make sure that everybody else knew that it hasn't been decided per the cases and everything else that we'd be talking about what we should be doing about training. Is that, that was correct? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions, concerns, or comments? Seeing none, I ask for a motion. So moved. And we have moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. That completes neighborhood and business development. No, you're good. Don't worry about that.
I'd like to call the Parks and Public Works Committee meeting to order, and I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Evans?
Present.
Councilmember Gruber? Here. Councilmember Spall?
Here.
Vice President McFadden? Here. President Scott?
Here.
Thank you, and we are joined by all of our colleagues. The first introductory is introductory number 43. It's authorizing an agreement with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., related to the Campbell Street R Center Gateway improvements. Any questions, comments, or concerns on introductory number 43? Hearing none, may I have a motion for 43, please?
So moved?
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. We'll continue to introductory number 44, which is amending the official map dedicating a portion of school number 43 property to right-of-way purposes. There will be a public hearing held at 5 o'clock after the committee meeting on February 15th today. Questions, comments, concerns on 44?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 45 is appropriating funds for street improvement projects from anticipated reimbursements from the Rochester Pure Waters District. Questions, comments, concerns on 45?
So moved?
Moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 46 is authorizing an agreement with Passero Associates Engineering and Architecture, PLLC, related to the Thomas P. Ryan R. Center Gym Air Conditioning Project.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes. President Scott.
Commissioner Jones, we asked why the air conditioning wasn't put in during initial construction, and the response was that it was an oversight. Is that accurate?
The term oversight is a very broad term, Council President Scott. The explanation that was given to me when I inquired was that they were placing in a system that had baffles in it that did air exchanges that would basically cool the gym by exchanging air and basically rendering it without a need to provide air conditioning. However, as you are well aware, and I'm well aware, we've been in that facility on certain occasions for graduations for our pillars class when it was 95 degrees outside and the gym was probably 105 degrees. So that was their explanation to us, that it was something that was going to really occur, but it was something that their design didn't work, and now we're putting in the right system to provide cooling for that center at the request of city government.
For the record, I take issue with them calling it an oversight. Having been a part of the negotiations for the development of that center, despite pleas for air conditioning, the request was refused, and they insisted on using this, whatever that was. So I just for the record, I want you to know that we can relate to them. I do take issue with the use of that term. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Anything else, Councilmember Lightfoot?
Thank you, sir. I just want to say that, for the record, too, I think this is great that they're doing this now. I've responded on the fire department to that building when the heat was on cremate, and it was bad. We had cheerleaders falling down all over the place. The heat was just unbearable. It was just ridiculous what it was in that place. So this is well overdue, and unfortunately it didn't happen before, but I'm glad that it's happening now. So I'm, hats off to you guys for getting this right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Just one thought. So,
Councilwoman Spall.
thank you. I think, lesson learned, and maybe that's what comes out of this, that we've had a couple of oversights, is that what it was called? I'm calling them like mistakes, but that's okay. One with the field, remember the field. So there's been a couple times where we've had to go back soon after, and we're not pointing fingers so much, but it really is a lesson learned. You guys may know better, you probably know better. I'm assuming, I think you know better, so we're going to have to push back because we had the problem with the field, and we asked the district to help us pay for that, and they didn't. We ended up paying for it, and now we've got the air conditioning, and again, we have to be able to use our expertise, our intelligence to make these things happen. So if nothing else, I think it's too late. We've got to get this done. This building needs it. I'm with Councilmember Lightfoot. I spent a lot of time in this building in the summer as well. So, but lesson learned. I think we need to be able to really stand up and say, pay now, pay later.
Councilperson Spall, I've been pushing for air conditioning in this building since 2010.
Yeah.
And we are well aware of making sure that we have the right representation in front of us to make sure that when there's a project going on one of these joint use facilities, that we have someone there covering our best interests. And that's why we have this legislation in front of you to have a consulting engineering firm there representing our interests and making sure that the citizens that utilize the field outside of the school hours or the facilities outside the school hours are being able to get a quality product and that they can utilize it not only during the school day, but after that also.
Right, right. And I appreciate that. I'm saying that we, this might have been avoided, but again, pay now, pay later, pay more now. Pay more later. So we're paying more, I'm sure, by having to go in and pay design and start over when it could have been part of the project. But you guys are great, so I just wanted to, we're all making a for the record statement, I guess, but thank you.
Thank you. Somebody's paying, it's us. Anything else on introductory number 46? I'll entertain a motion to approve 46.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Introductory number 47 is authorizing an agreement with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., authorizing the resident project representation services related to Adam Street Our Center renovations. Questions, comments, and concerns on 47?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Thank you. Introductory number 48 is authorizing an agreement to develop means for Highland Reservoir to comply with the federal long-term enhanced surface treatment rule. Questions or comments on 48? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
Moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Introductory number 49 is authorizing an amendatory agreement with Riverfront Medical PC for the Rochester Environmental Job Training Program. Questions or comments on 49?
So moved.
Been moved, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Introductory number 50 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. Questions or comments? Hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, the ayes have it. Last introductory is introductory number 51, discontinuing the use of approximately 12.466 acres of land for park purposes and dedicating approximately 12.467 acres to park purposes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes, Madam President.
I'm just wondering how it is we don't have a map for this currently, since we're already in the process of trying to dedicate it.
There is a map.
Here's a map.
Okay.
There is a map.
All right, great. Thanks.
Anything else on 51? If none, may I have a motion to adopt, please?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. That concludes the introductories. Any other business to come before the Parks and Public Works Committee? Hearing none, I declare this committee adjourned. Thank you.
Good job, Pat. All right, at this time, I want to call the public safety meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please read the roll?
Councilmember Lightfoot.
Present.
Councilmember Gruber.
Here.
Councilmember Ortiz. Vice President McFadden.
Here.
President Scott.
Please let the record reflect that all council members are present at this meeting. Starting off for introductory number 52, authorizing an agreement with Town and Country Travel Incorporated for a tour of historically black colleges and universities for city youth. To add that I must go, since you guys are going to these colleges, I want to go. But any questions, comments, or concerns, please. No, I was an amendment, but it got voted down. Introduction number 52, any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, I entertain a motion to adopt. Second, anyone?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Introduction number 52 passes. Introduction number 53, amending ordinance number 2017-279, relating to a grant agreement for Police Department Violence Prevention and Community Policing Programs. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If not, I entertain a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
It's been motioned and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Introductory passes. Introduction number 54, authorizing acceptance of PetSmart Charities 2018 Spay and Neuter Grant. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Councilmember Lightfoot, just a question here.
Councilman Gruber.
So just, I had asked a question about who is going to receive these services, and it sounds like it's going to be folks who are already going into the clinic on Bay Street or Verona Street. So it's kind of a first-come, first-served basis, is that right? Okay, and then the only other question that I had, and it's actually Councilmember Lightfoot's idea, was in terms of not trying to create additional barriers for folks, but I think we do want to, genuinely, we want to increase the number of pets that are licensed in the city. So if there's a way to not make this seem like a restriction or a barrier, but just an opportunity for folks who are already getting this free spay or neuter to be able to have an easy licensing opportunity, I think it would be great to incorporate that into this process.
We definitely will look into that, that when they come in and utilize the service, that they also get a license for dogs. I don't believe we have to license cats here, but we'll look into it. I'll have Chris look into it.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you, Councilmember Gruber, for giving me credit for that great idea.
My pleasure.
Need a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Introductory passes. Last introductory, number 55, authorizing agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. Any questions, comments, or concerns? A motion to adopt?
Moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Introductory number 55 passes. Is there any other business to come before the public safety business at this time? If not, I move that we adjourn.
The public hearing will begin at 5 o'clock p.m.